We had what VCs call an unfundable cap table, because of which it was really hard to attract new investors into our company. Let's talk about what makes a cap table unfundable. Part one of what makes a cap table unfundable is if the equity percentages and the monies raised are not consistent with the stage of the company. This will especially happen if the company pivoted after raising a bunch of money. For example, if a pivot results in a company completely getting reset where it should reflect an early stage company, but then you've raised a bunch of capital and you've given away a bunch of equities, so the founders and the team own way less compared to what an early stage company looks like, that is an unattractive cap table for new investors. This means that you have what they call dead equity on your cap table. It means that investors who may have invested in you in an old path but are no longer actively investing in you, or at least aggressively investing in you, but still hold on to a good chunk of equity just because they put money in you way back when you were a different company. Their interests may or may not even be aligned with the new direction you're going in, and new investors don't like that. The best way to do things at the time is completely do a cap table reset, which means that you either cramp down the current holding into a very small amount and you re up the founders and the team to a large amount so that it starts to look like an early stage cap table again, which is much more friendly for new investors to come into. This is usually very hard to do, especially if you don't have super savvy, very good investors on your cap table who understand the value of doing this. Most investors will see this as an erosion of their equity. But if they don't agree to that, what they're really doing is destroying the future of the company, but many investors won't even know that. Part two of what makes a cap table unfundable is too many non standard terms. For example, if you raised a bridge round and gave away 3x in liquidation preferences, that is not normal. Or you did a price round, but your valuation was artificially inflated because the round contained warrants to other investors. Some investors will give you a higher valuation and then cheat on it by having warrants, especially penny warrants, which effectively lowers the valuation for themselves. When new investors see these kinds of terms, they want to run away from it. There are many such non standard terms, including like how much legal fees was charged to you by the investors who closed the round. And if that is out of whack, that's also a red flag. There are a few other reasons: how many bridge rounds you've had on the cap table. Bridge rounds are non priced rounds like convertible notes, and it's typical not to have too many of these unless the company is going through bad times. So every bridge round is an indication that the company went through a bad time. Look, any one of these may not be catastrophic, but a combination of these can be. Also, when you have investors that are constantly coming up with non standard terms, that's a massive red flag.